We are live. Are you struggling with your personal branding strategies to grow as a content creator? Are you struggling with personal branding as a business and to grow your platform? Well, this morning on the Huddle, we're going to be sharing some tips and some strategies and answer some questions on helping you to level up your personal branding in 2022. And we're starting right now. Praise the Lord. Welcome to the Huddle. I'm your host, Walter Strong. If you're new here and you want to broaden your reach, your impact, and income through online video, then we welcome you to the show. This morning on the Huddle, as always, we have another dynamic guest here on the Huddle. And if you're ready for this one, if you really want to grow the personal branding, well, we have to bring a personal branding expert and so much more to help you level up. Hey, especially those of you on YouTube, let us know in the chat where you're watching us from. On Facebook, in the comment section, let us know where you're watching us from. Let's get into her bio. Today's guest is a personal branding expert, founder of Socially Active, a corporate social media training company that specializes in personal branding for the hybrid working place. She helps leaders, consultants, and experts develop a professional digital presence that makes people want to work with them, for them, and champion them. To do this, she leverages over 20 years of PR, marketing, and broadcasting experience while tapping into her love of technology and her hardwired into her personality. She has clients such as Rogers, HP, Lockheed Martin, various poker stars, C360. Hey, she may be doing some stuff for the Obamas, even out of office. We don't know. But this morning, we want to welcome the one, the only Miss Cher Jones. Good morning, ma'am. How you doing? Welcome to the Huddle.
Fantastic. Hey, Barack, Michelle, call me. I can help you. I can help you.
Yes. I see Mr. James Hicks popping up here. Oh, man, we got the legend here this morning. Who else we got here popping up? Oh, I got to take James down, of course. You know, we're going to have to tell StreamYard to say, hey, look. And then we got Mr. Steve Worthy. Oh, they're popping up in the chat this morning. I can see we're going to have another busy one. Miss Jones, be so kind to just tell the Huddle community about yourself and how you found your passion, particularly in your area of personal branding and content creation.
Well, it's interesting because I look at my career and I've always been a content creator before that term was even a thing. So I started my career in sports broadcasting and then moved into marketing and PR and corporate communications. And over the years, one of the things that I recognize, because again, we're let my cassette tapes and my roller skates give you an idea of how old I am. You can put down your calculators. Don't worry, you just got to carry the 4 and you'll get to where I am. But I have been working in this space, which we now call content creation and social media, for as long as it's been existing. So one of the things that I have noticed over the years when I started transitioning from working within a corporate setting, inside a corporate setting, to working outside with corporate, is that this whole social media thing, this whole personal branding thing is actually a thing. In fact, I was just talking about it with Steve Worthy, who's actually in the audience right now, about
Mhm.
my first talk on personal branding, which was called 99 Problems, but My Brand Ain't One. And that was back in 2013. So like, I didn't just wake up like this. I've been doing this for a while, but what I have done is taken all my experience working in television, both on camera and behind the scenes as a producer in sports broadcasting and factual entertainment, as well as, again, that marketing. So writing, copywriting, and then going into corporate communications.
Mhm.
And I bring that all together. And what I do now is I have this innate sense to see branded people. I feel like it's like the sixth sense is like, I see branded people everywhere. And I just want to pull out people's awesome. I just want to pull out, like, we all know that our steps are ordered, and that's a
Yes.
part of our brand, right? We
Mhm.
all know that we've been given gifts that are inside of us. And sometimes it takes another set of eyes to really see how powerful those gifts are. And what I
Mhm.
do is I take those ordered steps, I take those gifts that have been planted within, and help you to just stand out and use that story and those skills to serve in the way that you were created to serve through your brand, you on social.
Wow. You said a mouthful there. We gotta
I do that a
unpack
lot.
this. We're gonna have to unpack this. That's all good. This morning, I gotta welcome all the way from Detroit, Michigan, the
All right.
streets of Motown, my niece, LaDeja Strong,
Hey,
here
LaDeja.
on the Huddle. Oh, yeah. I had to bring her up because I would have heard it. Uncle, I went to your show. You pulling everybody up, and you ain't pulling me up. What's up with that?
What's up with
So
that?
I'm good
Come on,
now. I'm
Unc.
good. Exactly. Let's from a foundational standpoint, I've heard so many definitions of personal branding. What is personal branding? Because it can mean so much to businesses, to platforms, but
Mhm.
in the content creation world, what is personal branding to us as content creators?
Okay, it's a good question, because like your personal brand is what people say about you
Mhm.
when you're not in the room, right? At the end of the day, it's your reputation, it's the impression that you leave. Personal branding is the action of influencing those conversations.
Mhm.
So it is the content, it is the language that you're using about yourself. It's also what people are saying to you. So it's a combination of all three. And so what you need to do is you need to show what's in here, you need to show what's in here, and you need to show how you deal with people. And the best way that you can do that is, one, give people the language that they need to talk about you, right? Because
Mhm.
that's half the battle, right? We know that someone does content creation, but what does that mean in the context to how you need that content to convert? So again, giving
Mm.
people the language to talk about you and refer you or champion you, right? So that comes with the content that you put up, your profiles, right? But
Mm.
then it's the burden of proof. So that's now your content. So you're proving what you said about you. And this
Okay.
whole process is branding. And of course, there's, levels of professionalism to it, but you got to start where you are to get to
Mhm.
where you want to go. And you just continue to level up. And usually that leveling up means that you're bringing in more professionals to help you get to that next level. But you got to start with your brand.
Interesting. Interesting. So you gotta bring some substance behind that picture.
It
You gotta
takes
bring some.
time. Yeah, it does take time, but you can't just see, this is the thing, is like, it's funny, I was also talking about this, is
Mhm.
like, you can get a million likes one way or another, right? It's just
Right.
which kind of likes do you want, right? So I can put
Oh,
up
okay.
thirst trap pictures all day on LinkedIn and brag about how I get a million views on LinkedIn, but that's not going to bring me money, or I mean, I guess it could, but not the money I want, right? I
Right,
want to
right.
show people what I know. I want to serve. And that's the other thing is especially when you want to create a brand as a creator. Of course, we all know as creators, it's all about service, right? We've been
Mhm.
hearing this like till we're blue in the face. It is all about service, but you got to serve, because when you're serving, what you're doing is you're creating an experience. And I guess that's another, not I guess, that is an aspect to branding, is creating an experience with you, whether you meet me online or you meet me face to face. One, it has to be cohesive. It has to be the same thing, right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I need to, if you meet me on another piece of my content, which is actually how that happened, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
I need to be the same person that you saw in my content showing up for you. whether
Okay.
it's on your show, whether it's on Zoom, or whether it's I'm shaking your hand. And so that's your content is an extension of who you are and the experience that you will give to somebody, but also it's the burden of proof. It is showing, or it's the outcome of your burden of proof. You're showing what it is, and people are going to trust you based off of you showing up and showing up consistently, showing up live. There's so many ways to build that proof, but you got to put the proof out there.
Definitely. Okay. Now I'm understanding. So let me ask you this question, because personal branding sometimes can maybe be easy for people who are extroverts, who are easy, fun to get on camera, like ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But what about introverts? What do introverts have to do to make sure they know their personal branding and content creation is working?
Right. So one of the things that they need to, well, anybody, so this is actually a broad range school. Are you getting the conversations that you want to get based off of your efforts? So one, it's rooted in your goals. What do you want to happen? Right.
Mm,
So it doesn't matter if you're introvert or extrovert. The strategies from an introverted perspective, and we'll talk about, I guess we're going to talk about that in a second, but the to answer your question around knowing whether it's working, are you getting to hello at the end of
mm,
the day? Do you feel comfortable? And this is for anybody, but especially
mhm,
introverts. Do you feel comfortable when someone says, I looked you up on LinkedIn,
mm,
or I looked you up on YouTube, I checked out your content? Does that make you feel good or bad? And if you don't feel good about it, it's time to work on your brand,
mhm,
because more and more people are meeting us digitally first. So, and then, so once that happens and you feel comfortable, yeah, I'm looking you up. Now am I getting the results for my efforts? So that becomes a very intentional effort around what it is you're doing and how you're showing up, and what the outcome is that you want. So if you're not getting those results, then your brand is not working for you. But again, you are the person to define what it is you want.
okay.
So if you want people to recognize you as an expert, you could be an introverted expert, it's fine. But will people say, "Oh, I saw your content," or "I saw this," or "I saw that," and they're referring to you as that? That means your content's working,
Okay.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So I would say from an introverted perspective, your personal brand can be like a power tool, because it no longer requires you to in I wouldn't call them, I would have called them in real life conversations before, but physical conversations, back and forth conversations, where
Mhm,
you no longer have to totally sell everything about you. If you have done the work, your brand is your
mm,
backup, your backup dancers, right? Like, it's telling
mm,
everybody, it's creating the show for you, right? So you're out there
mhm,
in the main stage, but that now is the proof, right? So it's important for you to take the time. And again, I spend a lot of time in the corporate world, so of course I'm thinking LinkedIn first, right?
yes.
So,
Mhm,
and from the business perspective, like, there's no better platform, no matter what type of creator you are, than LinkedIn, as far as being able to explain what it is you do and how you serve.
mhm,
There's no better way to do it succinctly and give people the language, no matter, I don't care what you're doing. Your LinkedIn profile can really do a good job of doing that. And that's why I feel that introverts, I think everybody, but since
everybody,
we're
but
talking about introverts,
introverts, right?
they should take advantage of that, because let your profile do the talking. So if you were in a crowd of people and you weren't comfortable, speaking up, or you're in a crowded Zoom screen, you can go connect afterwards with your brand,
Mhm.
right? And now you can make an impression that you weren't necessarily comfortable making in a crowd, or if that's exhausting for you, you have your brand. So it's not about, tons of content. It's about showing up right.
Interesting. Interesting. We're talking this morning about tips and strategies about helping you level up your personal branding in 2022. In the chat on YouTube, let us know where you're coming in and watching us from. On Facebook, in the comments section, let us know where you're watching us from, and especially to our replay viewers. Those of you, I like. Can I borrow this phrase for this show, Cher? Though,
Absolutely.
are you team live or are you team replay? Give us a hashtag replay
That's right.
2022. We definitely want to acknowledge you. So I realize that I got some work to do on my personal branding. My LinkedIn profile is not speaking the language that it needs to speak. What are some ways, whether extrovert or introvert, I can begin to improve my personal branding?
Okay, so I tend to work, so I don't work with the resume piece because I don't work with job seekers at all, right? But that upper side, so from the experience section upwards, that
Mhm,
is what I focus on. And I would say the number like there are three things that people look at first, and I would say nail that first and then go deeper. So your three things
mhm,
are your profile picture,
okay,
right? Make sure it's up to date. It looks like you, right? And then you've got your background photo. So that's like that cover photo. You want to make sure that that is representative of your brand and how you want to show up. It is one of those subliminal messaging pieces that you get to leverage. So whether it's an image of something that represents what you do or you in action, whatever the case may be, make sure you have one. And then the other piece, which is super important,
mhm,
is your headline. Most people just default to their title. And why be basic when you don't have to, right? So you want to
mhm,
tell people what it is you do and how you serve. You want to because 90% of the people who see you on LinkedIn will never click through to your profile. Okay.
mhm,
What you tell them in the headline should be good enough. It's only those who click through is when they're going deeper because they want to connect with you. They want to know more about what you do. So that headline, just like a magazine headline, just like a newspaper headline, just like a lead in the news, that or even your title on your YouTube video, right? That
mhm,
should make them, and I guess let me update my references. So yes, your titles on your social, right? Like your
mhm,
headlines on your social, that should make them click through to you. And then that's when you get to go deeper. That's when you get to when someone gets into your profile. And so that headline really should be written for those people that you want to click through and get deeper, because you have all this opportunity through the featured section where that's where you can pin up some of your posts. And a great thing for those who are not actively creating content,
mhm,
just created enough pieces that seem relatively up to date and they're evergreen, meaning that they're not necessarily dated by, like, you don't want to have, best tips from 19 from 2019 as a featured piece because now it feels dated. But if you have some pieces of content that people can click through or at least see the thumbnails, plus the most important piece that I think that everybody should be working on is the about section.
mhm,
Where
okay,
people go wrong is they're writing it as like a E for everyone, like a general audiences. This is a specific audience because, like I said before, most people are not clicking through to your profile. Those
okay,
who are interested in either referring you or championing you or working with you or for you, those are the people who are diving in deep, right? So
mhm,
that's the audience that you want to talk to. And that's where you get very specific on how you communicate with them. And that should be an introduction. So most people were another, um, I guess, survey says X on this one is people will talk about themselves in the third person, like it's a bio. Like I don't introduce myself ever. Hey, Cher Jones is a, like, I will never say that. Someone else can say that about me, but you're on my profile. So
okay,
you need to have a conversation with the person who is coming through to your profile, right? So you want to make sure that you're introducing yourself in first person to do that.
mhm. This is some great, great content that we're discussing on the huddle. If you're getting great value out of what we're discussing this morning, do me a favor, smash the like button by clicking the thumbs up.
Great.
Share this content this morning on your favorite social media or the platform that you are on so that you can be able to encourage someone that it's time to level up your personal branding strategies in 2022. Let me ask you this next question because all of this is so good. Man, I think I need to watch the replay 3 or 4 times on this one. Let me tell you, as a content creator, how much content do I need to be able to have, whether on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Instagram, or the platforms that I am regularly on? How much content do I need to have out there that's going to really establish my personal branding working? Is it content or is
Mhm.
something else?
It's an interesting question because people create for different reasons, right?
Mhm.
So we've got those. Okay, so we'll start from the high first, right? Those who are those who are not trying, those who are building a community around them, right? Those
Mhm.
who have, and we'll keep this in this first piece, right? So their business model is often a one-to-one model, or they're selling digital products or digital services, and they need to make sure that they have a large community around them. Plus, they're building a
Mhm.
community inside. So, in order to engage your community, in order to sell to that community, you need a large amount of numbers. Therefore, you need a lot more content production, right? So
Mhm.
you need to be putting it out there all the time. Then there are those who are selling to corporate. They don't need to. It's like, so I guess at the end of the day, and I hate to put it as a sales thing, but
Okay.
I'll talk it in money here, right? So
Mhm.
if you have to sell to a lot of people, you need a lot of content, because you need to constantly be bringing people in. But remember, selling is serving. So if you're
Mhm.
serving a lot of people through your products, you need to make sure that you're putting out a lot of content. And on top of that, because you're building the community, to keep a community engaged, you're going to lose them if you're only posting once or twice a week. That's not to say that you can't, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm in the next category. I don't create a ton of content, right? So I'm in the second category, where it's like, I sell to one person that serves many. Yes, I still
Mhm.
get a lot of coaching clients and whatnot, but my focus is selling to corporate, right? Um, so one of the things that I've been focusing on is really making sure that my content is a credibility and verification piece,
Okay.
right? So those that I'm reaching out to and having active conversations with, or receiving referrals from. So oftentimes I get referred because I speak somewhere, or someone has worked with me or trained with me, and then they're referring me to somebody else, right?
Mhm.
So when they come back to me, they're coming to me. And so then they see my content and they make sure it's relevant to their interests. And that's that piece. So you don't, when they're coming to you, you're not
Mhm.
pushing out. So you don't need as much content,
Mhm.
right? The more content, yes, the better, because just gives you more access and more reach. But you don't necessarily need to put that pressure on,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And then, but because especially of what I do, I can't be dormant,
Mhm.
right? Because
Right.
I
Okay.
work in this space. But then there are those who are, it's still the credibility, and then the verification piece, right? But they just want to make sure that when someone is looking them up, they have enough that proves what's in here. They're not trying to actively build community. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you could be a creator at work. So there's levels of creator, right?
Mhm.
There's a whole new world for those in corporate who could be creating at work,
Mhm.
where your content may not necessarily even end up on social. It could
Mm.
end up in a report. It could end up in an email, and you could produce it like it's for social, but
Mhm.
get an immediate localized impact. And that's what I want to start, like, blowing people's mind around creating at work. Don't just use it for, if you're, let's say you have a lot of viewers right now who work a full-time job, plus they're building their communities and their products and their services on the side,
Mhm.
right? But don't let these skills that you have stay only on the side hustle until it becomes the main hustle. Use it at work and see how
Mhm.
your brand is elevated.
Mm.
So there's so
Can you say that again one more time for my
Mhm.
good man Steve Worthy, James Hicks, my niece LaDeja Strong? Say that
Yes,
again.
you just want to make sure that you're using this skill set that you have
Mhm.
to get that visibility wherever you are, whether it's your side hustle, whether it's at work. Because either way, what you do, especially at work, you're going to unlock hidden opportunities. So there are a
Mhm.
lot of people who are at work right now who are getting opportunities. So I didn't quite say it again. I'm actually like building on it, but that's okay.
Right. It's all good.
I want people to start just changing their frame of reference around creating, right? I create at work. Create the content that may not be on social media, but trust me, it can pay you more sometimes,
Mhm.
right? Because the right people are seeing you, and then what you're doing is unlocking access to the hidden opportunity, what I call the hidden opportunity market. So you
Mhm.
see people at work who are now going to conferences on behalf of the company that they work for. They're part of, focus groups, leadership training programs. They're co-creating content with HR and talent acquisition, or with sales, or with marketing. And so there's all these pieces where, why are they getting this attention? Well, because
Mhm.
they're proving that they can. People will be more likely to put you in a position when they can see you already doing it, especially from this creator piece. So there's a lot of people now. I believe that people should create podcasts for work. I believe, or live streams at work.
Work.
So let's say, for example, you're in tech. I do a lot of work in the tech community, in the development community, and you're doing a whole thing on DevOps or something in that space where you're bringing in other professionals that can talk about what's relevant to those that you serve. Like, there's so many ways to do it. I get so excited about it, and I just want people to remember that it's not just for social. There's a lot of, if you work for a large company, there's probably an internal network that it is your fastest path to visibility, and when you have credibility plus visibility, it equals opportunity.
Mhm. Let that breathe for a minute, audience. Those of you in the chat, especially who are going to watch the replay, let that breathe for a moment.
Mm.
And while you're letting it breathe, click the like button by smashing the thumbs up. Share this on your favorite social media, because as Cher says on her channel, sharing is caring. Plus, it
That's right.
lets YouTube know that this is some great content that they should be sharing, is caring with their audience as well. And also, if you
Mhm.
haven't had an opportunity, it's a great plug to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to the channel. And this is great content. This is great. Those of you who are just coming in the chat and YouTube, we're talking about tips and strategies on helping you level up your personal branding, whether as a content creator or as a business on your platform. So let us know in the chat where you're watching us from. And those of you who are watching us on Facebook, what are some pitfalls? And I apologize for not putting this question
It's all good. Bring it.
on.
Bring it.
All right. I like this because the energy. Yes, sir. What are some pitfalls and some don'ts that we should not be doing when trying to level up our personal branding in this year, 2022?
Okay, so one of the things that you have to make sure that you do is, as we are on multiple platforms, you have to
Mhm.
make sure you can show different sides of your brand, as we have different sides depending on the audience. So that's totally cool. If you're on TikTok, to let's say, even, and this is what people forget, is
Mhm.
dating apps. So if you're out there, you're single, streets are hard, but if you're out there and you're single, your dating app profile also matters in the full 360 of your personal brand, right? So
Mm.
all those things, just make sure that one app doesn't embarrass the other, right? And that could go from the opposite side. So people usually think, okay, I'm talking about, putting whatever on, like, provocative, or things that are less professional. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about your professional brand. If you're putting yourself out there as this, awesome person with energy and blah blah blah, and then your LinkedIn profile is boring, just pause there so I didn't use any appropriate language. But yes, I was like, boring. Yes, boring. And that's another side. Is like, you want to make sure that these other aspects of your brand, so from Facebook to TikTok to Instagram to Twitter, wherever you are, it's
Mhm.
just it's a full 360 view of your brand, and one side doesn't embarrass the other. So that would be my first thing.
Okay.
Um, my second thing is, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, do not ignore LinkedIn creators, especially you guys in, like,
Mm.
okay, first of all,
The floor is
let me
yours. Go
thank
for it.
you.
Go for it.
Okay, LinkedIn is significantly investing in the creator economy right now. So for example, I'm part of their creator program. So I have a creator manager assigned to me, right? And they have a creator portal. They have LinkedIn audio. Like, there's so many things happening right now with LinkedIn, as far as really investing in creators and create and developing it as a platform to put out your content, especially if you can frame it, and you don't have to, but frame it in a professional conversation, right? And professional is subjective, of course, but
Mhm.
at the same time, LinkedIn is just doing so much right now. And for those of you, if you're making money, you're a professional, right? So now you got to think about, well, what's that audience over on LinkedIn? What can they do for me? And sometimes it's access to training or speaking opportunities, right? A lot of people, while they're creating something for a consumer audience, their story as the creator, as the consultant, as the entrepreneur
Mhm.
can be leveraged to talk about what they know on that side. So you could separate your creative from you being the creator and
Mhm.
talk about that from the professional side. So there's so many things you can do. I'm just saying, do not sleep on LinkedIn. They've got a
Mm.
podcast network coming out right now that they're starting to solicit people to put on their podcast network. They've got LinkedIn audio, so like Clubhouse. And that's one
Mhm.
of those things that when we started using Clubhouse, back in, well, for me, December of 2020, that's the one thing I wish they had. I wish this was on LinkedIn because this is where my audience is. And so they've got that now.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
They've got LinkedIn Live. They've got newsletters, articles, document. Like there's just so much video. Like they have everything there. So I'm just saying, don't sleep on LinkedIn. So that would be the next thing. And then don't sleep on your profiles on LinkedIn. And then I would also say one of the biggest pitfalls for creators, and this is for everyone, is don't buy all the equipment you think you need until you get to the point where you actually need it.
Okay. That you need to say again because we're gonna put that in the clip for my good man James Hicks,
Yes.
Steve Worthy,
Yes.
and Sutter
And
the Third from Dallas, Texas.
that's what I'm talking about because like and those are two guys that you definitely want to talk to if you're looking at leveling up your brands, especially from like the live streaming perspective. You've got a whole community over there. You've got experience as far as like the tech and all that stuff. But at the end of the day is don't buy equipment you think you need until you actually need it. And that's a mistake that I made. I mean, I used a lot of it, but I love to like, aspirationally buy, but you
Mhm.
only make an ass out of your wallet when you do that because now all of a sudden you broke and you ain't even using that. You're not even using it properly. Like build
Mhm.
for and this is even me preaching to the choir right now to myself and
Mhm.
as far as saying like work on your consistency
Mhm.
before you buy that next piece of equipment. Use that. And it's funny because Steve Worthy talks about this all the time, like use these milestones, right? Like create milestones.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
would say create milestones like to like he says, create milestones and then you buy things and you celebrate and you buy things based off of that, based off of what you need, which is
Mhm.
awesome. And I would say even go one step further is milestones around consistency as a creator. So you can work your way to deserving that next piece of equipment. Yes, sometimes you want to start at a level and that's important, but that doesn't mean you have to buy level best.
Mhm. Mhm.
Use it, figure it out, and then when you're ready to make that leap, level up.
Mm. It's another one of those church. We gotta let that breathe. And
Amen.
in the church, in the Psalms, they call it Selah. Pause
Mhm.
and calmly think about what this young lady just said. If you need some Tums, James, I got some Tums for you if you're getting gas, man. I got some Tums. I'm sorry, he gonna get me. I gotta say good morning to Miss Denise Jordan from the YouTube channel This and That, who's been in the chat with us all the way from in Indiana. Thank you for joining us.
Good
We
morning.
are really appreciated. And those of you again watching the replay, are
Mhm.
you team live or team replay this morning? If you're on the replay side, hashtag replay 2022. Smash the like button, click that thumbs up button, share it on your favorite social media channel platform, Roku, Amazon. Hey, take this video, email it to your enemy next door.
Mhm.
Don't leave
Mhm.
them out because
Yeah,
they got a personal brand they got to build too.
exactly.
Yes. Let me ask you this final question because this has been so great of a show and so much epic content. Three things you wish you knew before you got into really in the your lane of person. See, I can tell you're in your lane. It's all over you. You're in your lane. Three things you wish you knew before you got in your lane of personal branding and content creation.
It's interesting because there are 3 things I had to learn along the way, but when I think about it, these are the lessons that, as you walk along your path, the wisdom comes with experience, right? So,
Hmm.
but I think, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna rephrase the questions. The 3 things I needed to hear,
Ooh,
right?
I like that.
Yeah, because it's like you may anecdotally know it, or you may or academically know this stuff, but you actually need to hear it. So
Hmm.
what you're doing right now is good enough for where you are right now. Your consistency and your action will make you better. You can't just get better by looking at somebody else. You've got to do it. You got to put in the reps. You got to do the work, right? So where you are is good enough. Just keep just putting in the work. So that's the first thing that I would have told myself.
Hmm.
The second thing that I would have told myself was, um, don't say no for somebody else. Let them say no. Because oftentimes, so what we do as creators, we don't ask for an opportunity. We don't, because we think they're going to say no,
Hmm.
right? We think they're going to, that we just don't think we're good enough or we're going to get it. It's like,
Hmm.
why do you think that? Right. So it's a grasshopper mentality, right? Like, it's like,
Mm.
why do we think that they're going to say no? They didn't tell us no. Right? The worst thing they could say is no, but what if they say yes? What if they see you different? Because for me, it always, when I hear somebody talk about me, like even when you were talking about me, before, like you're talking about just your impression of my brand is like, whoa, you see me that way? Like
Mhm,
it always
mhm,
blows my mind. So it's like the opposite of the grasshopper mentality. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, oh, they might say no. Right. So don't say no for somebody else. Allow them the pleasure of saying yes or no. Right.
mhm,
So, because it's the worst thing, right, that they could do is say no. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Right. So, and the third thing is start with what you've got. So it's kind of what we were talking about earlier. You don't need to buy everything to do, right? Get what you need. Chances are you have what you need. Work with it, put the reps in, and buy as you level up. Because the cool thing is when you're starting, everybody starts with one, right? That first sub, that first follower, that first connection, right?
mhm,
And the more you focus on serving and creating is the more you'll build up, you'll get better at it. I look at some of my first videos and I know that, yeah, my starting point was a lot higher because I started in broadcasting. I've been like, I've had stars in my eyes since I was a kid, right? Like, this is what I
mhm,
want to
mhm,
do, but I see my improvement. So
mhm,
the more you do is the more you'll improve.
mhm,
So
mhm,
you got to just start and do it. And I know that this is advice consistent to probably any creator right now is watching. I'm sure I've heard James say it. I have definitely heard Steve say it. It's like,
mhm,
you just gotta put it out there. You just gotta do it, and you'll get better. And that's something that it's a consistency over time, but you got to do it, right? So
mhm. Wow, man, that is some powerful truth. Just got to do it. You
just got to
just
do
got
it.
to do it. Just got to do.
Hmm.
All the information on who you are and your bios and to your links. But if people want to get in contact with you, needing some help with personal branding, speaking to my niece LaDeja, who has the Stroh's lead, she makes the best banana pudding in Detroit, Michigan. So,
Mm-mm-mm.
my niece LaDeja wants to get in contact with you. What's the best way that she can reach you and all the LaDejas who are small business owners to connect with you for personal branding and more?
Yeah, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn is my number one spot. That is like the number one. I mean, you could slide up into my Instagram, but where I really play and live as far as what I do is on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
But also my Instagram handle, as you can see, is right there. So you can also connect with me on Instagram. But yeah, I would say number one spot is LinkedIn. Come check me out.
All
Love to meet you.
right. Man, thank you so much for kicking off this amazing Women on YouTube Women's Month history. Man, you knocked it out of the park. I am
Thank you.
so honored you being a part of the Huddle community. Question of the day for those of you who are live and watching the replay. Um, are you really using your LinkedIn profile to grow your personal brand in 2022? Where is your about page, your profile? Is it leveled up, or do you got to go back and do some work on it? Drop in the chat or the comment section, especially those of you who are on Facebook. Let us know your feedback, and myself and Cher will definitely give you some feedback to get you in the right direction. And again, thank you so much for just being a part of the Huddle community. And I want to thank Steve for the connection, James for the connection of we being able to connect. We certainly want to have you back for more. I mean, you got another topic on, was it being able to when to pivot? Oh, I gotta have you back on it, because that's as content creators, that's something we struggle with, where we're working on one thing for so long and we say, should I stay with it, or should I pivot, or should I start another channel? So we definitely got to have you back for that one.
And should I be creating at work? I'm telling you guys, that's a whole strategy, right? To go from hidden figure to influential leader, start creating at work. Game changing.
See, I'm saying we're gonna put that on the Instagram clip. We're gonna put that one on the Instagram clip for that. Woo-wee! Well, let's go ahead and get this queued. Again, if you've gotten great value out of this live stream show, click the thumbs up by sharing it on your favorite social media channel or platform. And if you haven't had an opportunity, subscribe to the channel. And you say, why? I subscribe to so many others. Well, if you're interested in broadening your reach, your impact, and income through online video, we're interested in helping you do that by you subscribing to the channel, clicking the alert notification button so you're alerted when we go live. You'll get great value out of our live stream show. Thank you again so much, Steve, James, Miss Jordan, and my niece LaDeja. So I know I'm not in trouble. And those of you who will watch the replay, we want to thank you. Cher and myself are going to be in the green room. We will see you next Saturday.